Hey everybody, Rick Martin here. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to the party. Today we're going to do a recipe that is very simple, technique based, something that all of you have done before and you probably lay claim to the best recipe in some way or another, or maybe it's your grandmother's, but we're going to make deviled eggs today. I was inspired by the book Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. It's a very inspiring story about social and racial inequities, and certainly perfect for our current times. The recipe for deviled eggs that I have used for some time, and it always changes, but what we want to do is we want to first start with really good eggs. I thought it was really cool that at Checkers they have Martin Farm eggs, and these are from Barnett, Missouri. Good eggs are really important because you got to get those good strong yolks. They need to be really orange, not yellow, to make sure that we have an end product that is fantastic. And besides that, we're going to cook them properly. We're going to use time and temperature as our friends, which is so important in so many technique-based recipes. And you can play around with the ingredients, whatever else you want to do, and you can take this basically a ratio recipe and tinker it however you want. But to get started, good eggs, we're going to do a technique that boils the eggs, boiling water. I know that there's probably a million different ways to do it. And I struggled with it for years, not only getting them cooked properly, but also getting them to peel perfectly. And this is the only method that I've ever found. Certainly comment back to me if you have any other methods, but I think you'll find that this works perfect. We temper our eggs, hot tap water, so that when we put the eggs in the boiling water, they won't break. And you can change that hot tap water a couple times to get that egg internal temperature pretty warm, and then we're going to put them gently into boiling water for 9 minutes. And after 9 minutes exactly for a large egg, we're going to put them in an ice bath to get them cooling down so we don't get any carryover cooking. We don't want carryover cooking in this because sometimes that very thing that you think 9 minutes is the right amount of time, and by the time you get them cooled down, the yolks have set too hard, and then after they sit in the refrigerator for a half an hour, they kind of get that green ring around the outside. We certainly want to avoid that. So I'm going to change the camera angle and let's get started. Okay, so we tempered our eggs. They're nice and warm. We're going to get them into our boiling water. I want to do this as quickly as possible without breaking them. Okay, all of our eggs are in. Remember, 9 minutes, 9 minutes exactly. While your eggs are boiling, you can go ahead and prepare your ice water bath. It's good to have at least equal amounts ice and water, preferably more ice, to get that temperature to come down very quickly. Okay, there's our timer. Get these out as quickly as possible. Can't tell you how important it is to use a timer. So much good food gets ruined everywhere because people don't use a timer. It's very simple. Talk to Siri, whatever you have to do. Okay, the next step in getting these eggs to peel really well is simply taking them out. I like to hit this large end of the egg first, where this pocket of air is, and then just crack them all the way around. This allows some of the water to get inside of the membrane and will make them a lot easier to peel. Okay, so now it's time to peel our eggs. Should be able to break that membrane. Maybe get a little bit more water in there, and then the shell will come right off. Hopefully without any blemishes or any other defects to that egg. Okay, next is pretty simple. We're simply going to cut into our eggs. In between cutting, have a nice wet towel here to dampen and clean that blade. That'll keep any resistance from happening. But as you can see, we get a really nice orange yolk, just slightly semi-set in the middle. and no green ring. As for popping out these yolks, the best way I've found is to put your finger on the other side of that yolk, get it to dislodge, and then with the tip of the knife, just knock it out. I did want to point out that it's always good to start with more eggs than you think you'll need. Not only is it great to have snacks, but you might get some lopsided yolks where the white is too thin and it cracks a little bit, which is fine. Those make great snacks. Okay, so let's mix our yolks. We want to get these nice and smooth. You can add a lot of different things. I'm simply going to put in some lemon zest. Makes it really nice and bright. We'll save some more for garnish. A little bit of Dijon mustard, or to taste. And I'm going to start with some olive oil. And again, play around with the ratios as you wish. I like a little bit of turmeric just to brighten up those colors. Gives you a real consistent yellow color. And then a little bit of water. We'll use that water as we move along to get it to the right consistency. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this juice of the lemon in there as well. What I want to use, lots of different things. I find that playing around with a dumpling roller here, just to get these smashed smooth. You can do a fork, you can use the back of a spoon, but this works really well to get them all nice and smashed. So when I see it's getting a little chunky, that's when I'm going to add a little bit more water or a little bit more lemon juice. So after a couple more additions of water and olive oil, you start to get this nice fluffy emulsified egg yolk blend. Simple, always better. Most things that are so simple, like potato salad, tuna salad, a French fry, the fewer ingredients, the better the techniques. It's always going to be better. So just keep that in mind when you're making this. Okay, now for the filling. What I find works so great is to use a pastry bag. I've got one of these single-use pastry bags. I've got my round tip in there. You can use a Ziploc bag, and you can even kind of mash it and mix it with your fingers when it's in the bag. And then once you're done mixing, you can cut the corner of the Ziploc bag and use it as a pastry bag. But I've got pastry bags around all the time, so that's what I'm going to use. So fill this up. I use a plastic container as my third hand that I don't have. So if you don't have a helper that can hold this for you, it's good to prop it up. You don't want to ever get anything on the top part of the pastry bag. These actually come with a max fill line, but a messy pastry bag is no fun. So pull that up. Try to get as much air out as possible, and then twist. The pressure of a pastry bag is always coming between your thumb and your finger to push right here. You're not ever squeezing down here. That's going to force the food back up into the top of the pastry bag, and then that gets really messy. And then we're just going to fill like such. It's really clean. Okay, so now we're on to the fun part, which is plating. As you probably know, putting deviled eggs onto a plate is very tricky. They want to slip around. So if you don't have one of those really cool deviled egg serving plates, then I suggest putting down some sauce, maybe some really coarse salt, something that'll help them stay in place. I'm going to use some whole milk yogurt, as a lot of you hear me talk about a lot. And then I'm just going to take that simple little plating technique and run that into a channel. And I'm going to take some of my sea salt here and put that down on top of that. And then I'm going to take my eggs and alternate these just like that. Okay. Some of the things I got are some wonderful hickory smoked sea salt, which will put a really nice contrast of color on there. Kind of looks like black pepper, but I can smell this stuff filling up the room already. Some other things I have, I picked some arugula from my yard earlier, and some really small little baby leaves, and a little bit of some cilantro fronds from some cilantro that's just about to go to seed. And I have some of these purple peas, so I'm going to just kind of split those in half. And I got some little purple and golden peas from the garden as well, and there's a real little baby purple one there. Then we're going to take a little bit of our lemon zest, and we're going to zest on top of everything else. With some arugula flowers. And deviled eggs. Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed your party in place. Please feel free to contact me with any comments. I'd love to hear if you made the recipe, and let me know how it turns out. Deviled eggs. My son Leo is going to come in and enjoy one of these with me. Leo loves his deviled eggs. Oh yeah. I'm everyone. Goodbye.